And our third silent panel is Haynes, who is the former General Counsel of the Department of Defense. We welcome you, Mr. Haynes, and if you have an opening statement, we'd be happy to hear it from you now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You've put your mic on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a formal opening statement except to observe that this hearing today is part of a process that's been going on for some time now and will continue for many years to come, I'm sure. How our country deals with this unprecedented threat is the subject of discussion among members of Congress, the executive and the judiciary, the media, and many politically active citizens. This is as it should be. Ultimately, however, the end of these discussions can only come with history's larger judgment of how well our leaders in the various branches of government performed in the work of protecting Americans after an attack, and of course how well the country remains equipped to deal with this threat in the future. So I just want to say I think this hearing today can serve a larger purpose and a most useful purpose. We all rightly fear another assault on our country, one perhaps even more horrific than the last. We know that America's enemies, while thwarted, are unrelenting. Indeed, some of those who have been released from Guantanamo have already shown their recidivism, committing acts of terrorism that have left innocent people maimed or killed. So along with members of this committee and many other Americans, I look forward in the years ahead to watching our nation's leaders advance the cause of America's security and freedom. And finally, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to acknowledge my appreciation of all the members of the previous two panels for their service, their good faith, their hard work in trying to deal with a very difficult issue. I'm ready for your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Haynes. In July of 2002, your Deputy General Counsel, Mr. Schifrin, contacted the Joint Personnel Recovery Agency, as we heard earlier, the JPRA, and asked for information about SEER techniques. Did you ask Mr. Schifrin to obtain information on SEER techniques?
Mr. Chairman, summer of 2002 was 6 years ago, and my memory is not perfect. My memory is not perfect even in more recent times, but 6 years ago is surely the case. What I remember in the summer of 2002 is a government-wide concern about the possibility of another terrorist attack as the anniversary of 9/11 approached. I also remember a widespread belief that the people that the United States had captured in the war on terror were not producing as much information as we believed they had. Similarly, there was widespread frustration that the existing doctrine was inadequate and that the country's capabilities were inadequate to the task. So as the Chief Legal Officer of the Department of Defense, I was interested in that and concerned about it. I remember inquiring generally about where the sources of information and expertise in the government might be as a senior leader of the Department of Defense and a potential advisor on different matters. And Richard Schifrin would have been the person I would have asked for that kind of information.
Okay. Do you remember asking Mr. Schifrin to obtain information specifically on SEER techniques?
I don't remember that specifically. What I do remember is what I've said, asking generally about that, and I do also remember sometime in the late summer, and this is recollection somewhat refreshed from recent review of some documents, that I did get some information on from the Joint Personnel Recovery Agency.
You don't remember requesting it?
Well, I don't remember requesting it, but I do remember being interested in it, and I would have requested it through Richard.
If you requested it?
Yes, sir.
But again, just to be very precise, you don't remember requesting information on SEER techniques?
I don't remember that specifically.
All right.
Sir.
Now, you met regularly with a small group of senior administration lawyers, including Mr. Gonzalez, the President's counsel, Mr. Addington, the Vice President's counsel, Mr. Rizzo, the acting CIA General Counsel, and the Department of Justice Office of Legal Counsel attorneys, Mr. Yu and Patrick Philbin, to discuss legal matters relating to the war. Did this request to Mr. Schifrin for the information that you've described you did request, did that come from that group? Was it a result of discussions with that group?
Well, Senator, again, 6 years ago is a long time. I had probably 10 meetings a day during the course of my time as General Counsel. I met with many people, many groups. I met with subsets of that group. I met with larger sets of lawyers. There were interagency meetings of all types throughout my tenure as General Counsel. So to key into one particular meeting with a particular group of people with a specific request is very difficult for me to do.
I wasn't asking you for that. Do you remember whether your request to Mr. Schifrin was the result of discussions with that group?
No, sir, I don't.
Now, tab 2, if you'll take a look at it, is a July 26, 2002 memo from Lieutenant Colonel Baumgartner to your office. And it relates to JPRA memorandum dated July 25th. And about SEER training programs. Do you remember seeing...
I'm sorry to interrupt. This says July 26th.
All right. Did I say July 25th?
I thought you did.
The reference was to a July 25th JPRA memorandum. You see that where it says reference?
Yes.
Third line down. Okay.
I do. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember seeing this memo at the time?
No, sir, I don't remember it at the time, but I've seen it before, and I've seen it a long time ago, not just recently.
All right, but you don't remember seeing that at the time it was sent?
No, sir, I don't.
Is it possible you did see it then?
It's possible I did see it. The addressee is the Office of the Secretary of Defense General Counsel, which is not my precise title, or was not my precise title, but if it was so addressed, I would have seen it probably.
Now, tab 3 is a attachment to the July 26th memo, if you could take a look at that. It's a list of physical and psychological pressures used in SEER training, including stress positions, walling, degradation, sensory deprivation, exposure to bright flashing lights, sleep disruption, and waterboarding. Did you see this document at the time?
Was this an attachment to the other one?
Yes.
Sir?
Yes.
Well, if I'd seen the other one, and if it was attached, I would have seen it.
But do you remember specifically whether you saw this attachment at the time?
I don't remember specifically when I saw this.
All right. Now, there's another attachment to Lieutenant Colonel Baumgartner's July 26th memo.
Is that number 4?
No, tab number 4, on the long-term effects of resistance training on SEER school students. It was written by Dr. Ogrisseg, who is the witness on our first panel, as you heard, and it includes a psychological assessment of the techniques used at the Air Force SEER school and one technique used at the Navy SEER school, waterboarding. Did you ask Mr. Schifrin to obtain information on the psychological effects of SEER resistance training?
I may have.
Did you see Dr. Ogrisseg's memo at the time?
We're now, this is an attachment to the
Yes.
other one you said? Well, if I had seen the first one and it was attached,
But do you remember specifically whether you saw this memo at the time, this attachment?
I don't specifically remember when I saw this.
All right. Now, when you got, do you remember receiving this? What would you have done with this information when you got it? Do you remember doing something with this information?
I don't remember doing something with this information. What I remember, Senator, and I'm sorry about
It's all right. If the answers you don't remember, that's okay.
my recollection, what I recall was the environment that I described earlier.
I understand.
And I've forgotten what prompted my interest, other than the general concerns. There may have been some other catalyst.